Hey mamas, it's Kristen Noel, founder of The Intuitive Divorce, and I am here with my beautiful team member, Master Coach Joe Young, and we are popping on right after class, and our hearts are smiling. We have so much to celebrate today. Again, we never know what's going to get unpacked in class, and we never know where the mamas who are navigating the divorce and they're in the messiness of it all, we don't know what's coming up in their lives. And it's interesting because today, the topic of our teaching was about this notion about story and the stories that we tell, the stories we get stuck in, the roles that we're playing consciously or unconsciously, and how we shift out of them or what we can do about that. So it was such a beautiful segue into what happened today. And so many stories got unpacked. But what was amazing, there was this like thread or theme of celebration and wins. And by wins, I'm not necessarily talking about like massive wins in the court. I'm talking about massive personal wins of healing and coming alive. And literally, it's something that you feel it viscerally, but you see it physically. I sometimes am amazed. I'll be looking at a woman who's talking in the group, and it's like she's gone back, she's gotten younger, 10 years younger. Her face just is so much more at ease and at peace. And she's smiling and she's alive and she feels like herself. And that doesn't just happen by rainbows and unicorns and thinking happy thoughts, but it's probably just the most divine thing that we get to witness. And when we see it, it never gets old. I mean, it absolutely never gets old. But today there was a lot of that going around, and it was just it was just a big celebration. What can I say? Sometimes going through a divorce can be a big celebration, but I think the biggest takeaway really is that in the middle of this mess, in this time when you may be telling yourself a story that I am the only one going through divorce, or I feel very isolated, or mine is the only life that's such a mess and all that. This really is an opportunity to examine your story. What is the story that I'm telling? Because it's like I said, we are what we eat. We live what we tell ourselves. So I think this is a really great place to start because what I want you to remember, no matter what you're going through, and I'm not trying to bypass it and tie it up in a big shimmery bow, but what I want you to remember is that if you start to lean into this self-awareness and a little bit of this healing, you can be more present with your kids. You can feel alive and you can keep your divorce on track and you can start rescripting your next chapter.
It's so true. Yeah, it was a beautiful class today, and it was so fun that across the board, each mama there had something to celebrate, had something that she felt so good about. And to listen to each of them, mama by mama, say, I was so proud of myself.
Hmm.
And that
Chills.
just, it got me every single time. I was like, that's the best because that's what this is all about, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that there aren't all the things that go along with divorce, but to take the moments where you recognize a shift in yourself, where you recognize how to do something differently than you might have done before, when you recognize that you matter, there's nothing like it. It's like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I did that hard thing and I am so proud of myself. And we even went so far today as to have a few of them say, and I'm even happy. Like, I mean,
I'm,
right? And we,
I'm
yeah,
allowed to be happy and
I
divorced.
think one said borderline happy, which made
Yeah,
me laugh
yeah, yeah.
because, we can't go all the way there.
Oh, it's kind of
But
like, am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to be
in the
happy?
middle of divorce,
Right, right. Yeah.
right? And we're like, yes. And doesn't it feel so much better when that is your story?
Mhm.
And it's not about bypassing all the other things that are going on to what you said, but it is about where am I going to put my focus and attention? And right now it's going to be on this win and this hard thing that I didn't think I could do that I did. And I'm so proud of myself for doing it.
Mhm.
And you and I both have even personal things going on in our own lives where we're doing those same things. And we say all the time that these skills are not just divorce
Um,
skills, they're life skills. And it's like just to watch that unfold today was like, you have no idea what a huge gift you have just given yourself. And these are the things that will stick with you because you're going to remember this feeling and you just gave yourself evidence that you can do a hard thing.
mhm. Mhm.
It's a win-win.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really about, again, I love that you brought this in, that these, we do try to say this over and over. These are life skills, like learning to trust your intuition, learning to harness the power of what you do feel good about in your life, where you are proud of yourself, where you know that you are powerful. When you can harness that and you can say, I do that in this part of my life. I don't do it so well over here, maybe in my marriage. What can I do about that? Right? This is when we go into like unpacking the stories we tell and the roles that we play, right? Because we often see women who are just high achieving and amazing in their offices. And the woman that ends up going home into that unhealthy marriage is a totally different person.
Yeah.
So we had one mama who just had a huge career win and said yes to something, whereas before she would have kind of kowtowed, maybe run this by her controlling ex, who would have talked her out of it and said that isn't good for, whatever. She just went ahead and she said yes. And this is after a lot of work and a lot of unpeeling and unpacking and realizing I'm not happy. I'm not happy when I can't say yes to myself. So then I said, oh, well, isn't this interesting? You can do this in the office. And then what happens when you go home? But what was amazing is she started to reflect on this and to become more aware of this. So when this happened, when this big career win happened, and she was nervous to go home and talk about it, she reached out to me. She reached out to someone else that was going to support her. She reached out for help because she knew my pattern, my role is that I typically kowtow, back down, give in, and then I seethe and I'm
Shrink.
upset. Yeah,
We shrink.
exactly. And she did the
Hmm.
opposite. She reached out for support and like literally it was like a different person showed up in class. And and again, we never know what the timeline's going to look like and it can be months and that's okay. The bottom line is no matter what has happened, no matter where you came from, write a new story. Lean
Yeah.
in and write a new story. What do you want? What do you need to validate? What do you need to see? What do you have to come out of hiding from? And we can be like, I think it's an interesting notion to think of like, am I a different person in the community? Am I a different person at work? Am I a different person with my friends and family than I am at home in my marriage? And what is the price I'm paying for that? What toll is that taking on me? Because when we have to operate, I use the analogy today, like imagine you're in a Broadway show and you're playing a role. Well, you're going to study that script and you're going to have your costumes and you're going to have your songs and you're going to know your lines. And suddenly the director says, you have to play 5 roles. I mean, it's just like, how can I do that? How many costume changes? How many scripts do I have to, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think that's like a pretty good analogy, right? Of what it feels like when we have to contort ourselves and sort of shove ourselves into places that we no longer fit.
Yeah. We can end up doing a lot of packaging in life, to be pleasing to this person and that person. And it does leave us feeling like we have to show up and be different people, different places until we understand that it's all you. You're the common denominator.
Mhm.
It's just you're choosing when to harness the power of certain qualities, right? And
Mhm.
so what you did in conversation with this woman was to say to her, how can you harness those superpower qualities and bring that into the person that you are at home? Because when we're so busy packaging, that's when we get exhausted. That's when we get depleted. And that doesn't fuel us in any way. What fuels us is to go, oh, I just stepped into my power here and stood up for myself or said yes without acquiescing. I didn't shrink,
Hmm.
right? I didn't shrink. I got to show up in the fullness of who I am, and that's what fuels you.
Hmm.
So it's such an incredible analogy for what we had going on today, and such a beautiful example of what it is that when you go, wait a minute, I can harness all that superpower and show up at home the same way. And this particular woman, it was amazing. I mean, she said yes. She didn't check in to take the temperature in the room first. She decided, I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to figure out the best way to communicate what is happening.
Hmm.
Not asking permission, not giving someone else the ability to bring her down, but to go, this is a choice I made.
Hmm.
How can I best communicate how this is going to happen and how mindfully, because all of our mamas in this program are incredibly mindful, caring, loving individuals who care about their children, who care about the people around them. And so that's never a worry. The
That's what we
worry
always say
goes
with
the
our,
other way.
right. Yeah. We want them to bring some of that mindfulness to themselves, right? Also, just be curious. It's not about condemnation. It's about curiosity. And actually, by the way, you're allowed to have a little fun with that. So with this mama, the way that I really got to her is I was like, you're a badass boss. You are literally a badass boss. What happens to you when you go home? I said, next time, bring the badass boss home with you. Meld the two, bring them together. It's very taxing to have to play all these roles and to be these different people and have to like kind of self-edit. There are ways in healthy relationships to meld the two, but this is a real indicator. When I have to shrink and when I have to hide and when I have to package myself and when I have to figure out how I'm going to present everything. Oh, the biggest telling thing was when she said, here I got this huge career win, and I couldn't just call up my husband and share it with him. And we couldn't just like say, hey, we're going out for a big dinner tonight and we're going to celebrate. That is a real indicator. If you've got to package yourself and you've really got a script, how I'm going to convey this, as opposed to someone who's just going to dive in and say, oh my God, that's so great and celebrate you. So it's like to see her embody this aspect of herself and to say yes. This was her realm where she really felt powerful and she would shine. So we really wanted to help her harness the power of that and help her bring that into other aspects of her life. Now, this isn't about being a badass and like Joe said, any woman that's in the intuitive divorce is depleting herself because she cares so much and she's giving so much. She's just not retaining enough for herself. And there's a little imbalance there. And when we get women back into that balance, that's the sweet spot. That is the beautiful, beautiful sweet spot where you can give and receive.
Yeah, so beautiful to watch. And, the other thing that we really talked about today was being careful around the stories that we talk about. And, it can be very easy in the divorce process to find people that you want to commiserate with.
Mm.
The old saying, misery loves company. So
Mhm.
there is that piece of it. And just to be mindful around what are the conversations that you're having with other people? What are you affirming all the time? Whether it's about your marriage, whether it's about life in general. How many of us say life is so hard, right? And all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, the universe is going to go, let me show you how hard it is because you're going to prove yourself right, right? Or repeating a story, staying in a toxic situation by repeating a story over and over and over again. And it's like you started today by saying, give yourself permission to remove yourself from the story.
Mhm.
Can you take yourself out from that and kind of take a step back and look at it and watch the story playing out and go, okay, wait a second, I don't have to be in that anymore. I don't have to continue to repeat the same conversations, to have the same thoughts, to affirm the same beliefs, because that is how we live our stories. And wouldn't it feel so much better? And we were saying for this woman, now you have evidence. So use that evidence to tell yourself a new story. Look at what I'm capable of. Wow, when I really dig in and show up as my most powerful, amazing, authentic self and go for something, anything is possible.
Mhm.
And gee, that conversation that I needed to have around it wasn't nearly as difficult as I thought it was. I got this.
Mhm.
Those are the stories that we want to start to live in.
It's
So
so
it's really
true.
important to have awareness
Right.
around where
The
we're staying stuck in our stories.
awareness of the story and the role. I'm the person who fixes everything. I'm the person everyone comes to. I'm the one that keeps the peace. I'm the one that makes everything better. I'm also the one that's totally depleted. I'm the one that's abandoning my own needs. I'm the one that's trying to control things that I don't control. And again, have a little fun with it. Have a little fun with it. Like when we actually can see the roles that we have agreed to play, we can say, you know what? Not going to play that role anymore. It's not working.
Yeah.
Something has to shift here. And this is also really one of the core tenets of an intuitive divorce. People say to me, what's an intuitive divorce? The intuitive divorce, it's an inside job. Sure, you're going to need an attorney. You're going to need some kind of court facilitation, whether that's a mediator, financial people, or co-parenting counseling or whatever. But the bottom line is an intuitive divorce brings the power back in to you. You take control of the divorce. You become the CEO of the divorce because you learn to trust your own answers. You learn to tap into your own instincts. You learn to harness the power of your awareness. What am I doing? What is my role in this? What role am I playing? What story am I telling? What thoughts am I thinking? What can I shift? What's not working? And it's okay. If it's not working, it's not working. It's just evidence of like, okay, something needs to shift. I'm actually not stuck. We always say, stuck? Okay, where are you stuck? Where are you feeling stuck? I'm only stuck if I agree to stay stuck. It's what it really boils down to. And let me tell you something.
Yes.
Yeah. And so going into just to finish this one notion about an intuitive divorce, it's also, it is okay to get advice from outside sources, particularly professional advice. And it is okay to speak to trusted friends and family, whoever. But ultimately, remember, this is your life. And you're going to live with the choices that you make. And they've got to feel aligned with you and resonant and something that you're going to be happy to say to your kids, like, I did the best I could. This was the best choice for me that felt, aligned with my intuition. It brings it back inside as opposed to taking polls like, what do you think I should do? This conversation came in with another mom in the group today where, families will insert opinions, and that's okay. Even when the opinions are aligned with yours and they're like patting you on the back and saying, "Oh, absolutely, we totally agree with you." I mean, that's great to an extent, but it doesn't really matter. It feels good. It's like a little hit, like, yeah, see, everybody thinks I'm right. But ultimately, what really matters is, are you right with your choices? Are you right with the story you're telling? Are you right with the role you're playing?
And it's what brings me back to the statement that meant the most today, which was, I'm so proud of myself
Hmm.
because there's nobody else that needs to be proud of you but you.
Hmm.
That's it. And you will only be proud of yourself if you are doing things that are in alignment with you. Otherwise, we're just constantly giving all of our power and all of our agency over to other people's opinions. And I think we've all done that long enough. So it's an amazing thing to bring it back in and to know yourself well enough to know what's going to make you feel proud. And that's where the intuition comes in, is staying in alignment with that so that you too can look in the mirror and say, I'm so proud of myself for taking this step.
And like you said earlier, what's so wonderful about that is that it doesn't mean you're always going to make the right choice, or it doesn't mean you're not going to be depleted or tired or say regrettable words or whatever, but you're going to pivot so much more quickly. You're going to see it so much more quickly. You're going to say, huh, what's going on here that I'm behaving this way or acting this way or feeling this way? What's going on underneath this? And
In
that,
fact, I'm going to interrupt you for a
yeah.
second because, in fact, just last week, this same mama showed up and said, I'm so upset with myself that I didn't handle something the way that I wanted to handle it.
Mhm.
So that is the shift that can take place. She did the repair work. She let it teach her something and show her something. And it also became her pivot point. This is huge. It
Mhm.
became her pivot point to go, I never want to go back to that version again.
Can't do it anymore. Keep
Yes. So
moving.
this is, I'm using it rather than a place to beat myself up. I'm using this as the place to build me up, to have the courage to take the next steps. So I love that you brought that in. I didn't want to bypass that because
Oh no, this is
that's how
good.
fast that happened in a
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Because she's been there months doing
Right,
putting
right.
the work in behind the
Well,
scenes.
and also, you know what? And literally every time we start class, I always honor these mothers for showing up. I mean, for God's
Mhm.
sake, it's summer. Life is all over the place. It's still Mercury retrograde. Kids are summering all around, vacations, work. This, we can always come up with circumstances about why we can't be here. But you know what? Honest to God, the mothers that show up, they are moving the needle. They are moving the needle, and they're just like you, and they're facing the same situations that you're facing, and they're up, down, and all around. We have women on opposite ends of the spectrum, and we had one woman today who really is very, very close to the end. Like she literally just is accepting a final settlement. And it's a massive win for her because this is a woman who actually put the divorce on pause midstream. And this is the first client that I had do this, where she really just came and said, I'm actually going to put this on pause because I'm not sure. We're going to give it another try. And I said, great. We're not in the business of divorce. We're in the business of healthy relationship. And we celebrated her. We celebrated her because you know what? At that moment, her heart and her intuition were saying, this is what I need to do. And she did. And she did end up coming back and rejoining the group and moving forward. But here's where the beautiful wisdom, discernment, and alignment with her intuition came into place because she moved at her own pace and she trusted herself. And just even today, when she came in, she basically shared with us that, yes, I know I am leaving some things on the table and maybe I could have fought for more and this, that, and the other, the details. And we just looked at her and he said, there is a cost to fighting. There is a price we pay financially, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So sometimes, yes, you will leave things on the table and you will walk away from things, but you will gain so much more. And we were looking at her, and it was so beautiful to have her in the room today because there are mothers in different places. So when they're in this container and they're listening to her story and they're witnessing her, they have so much hope. There's a piece of her story. They see a piece of their reflection in her. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. And we're watching her on the screen, and I was thinking, why does she look 10 years younger? Well, I was like, does she have
I
some
said the same thing too. I was like, I
writing in
wanted to
that
go,
office,
I know, I wanted to go, you look so much younger. But instead I was like, you look so much lighter.
You look
You
so
know,
at
because, but
peace.
she did.
Yeah.
She looked
Yeah.
so at peace. There wasn't the furrowed brow. There wasn't the heaviness that she's been carrying for so long. And it was just so beautiful to witness with a smile across her face. And it's not like she has everything figured out, but I made the point to say to
As
her,
anyone.
what I love is that each and every time you say, I still have the house to figure out and this to figure out, but I'll figure it out, or I still have this piece, but I'll figure it out. And I said, that's the confidence that you've gained
Mhm.
since I met you, was you just going, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll figure it out and it will all work out and I'll make sure it works out well.
Mhm.
And she has this trust that she's built through this process, not only of trusting her own timing and trusting her own intuition, but also trusting that whatever happens in her future, she has it. She's
Mhm.
got it. She'll figure it out. And that is freedom.
Mhm. It's so beautiful. And it really boils down to giving yourself the space and the stillness and the quiet to actually tap into, what is it that I want? What do I want my life to look and feel like? What do I want my role to be in this story? What is the story I want to be living? What is not working? What is draining me? What is keeping me stuck? And what role do I play in that? How am I participating in that? Am I feeding that? Am I feeding my role of victim? Or dot, dot, dot. This is the thing. You're the author. You're the author right here. in this story, where you may feel the lowest you've ever felt, just be curious. Maybe it's just because it's so unfamiliar, and unfamiliar and the unknown feel scary. But what if you told a different story about it? What if you told a different story? It's like, yeah, like Joe always reminds us, instead of but and, I am feeling, I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling scared. I'm afraid of the unknown. And I'm going to write this next chapter. I'm feeling motivated because I'm ready. I'm ready to make a new move. I'm ready to move out of this dysfunction. I'm ready to model something better for my children. I'm ready to feel something better. I'm worthy of something better.
Yeah. The cost of staying stuck, the cost of staying where you don't fit any longer, the cost of shrinking is high. And
Mhm,
it's your precious life, it's your time, and it's your joy, and it's all the things that you know deep down that you are just longing for.
mhm,
So, yeah, it's an incredible journey to be here and to go through this and to watch women time and time again transition
mhm.
from who they have been, who they have felt stuck being, into more than they ever thought possible. It's really
And
just
we're seeing that. And
incredible.
some of the mamas in this group are dealing with some pretty intense situations, and they are showing up. And I'm going to tell you something, they are able to show up because they are taking care of themselves, because they're showing up for themselves. If you love your children, this is how you love them. You take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is taking care of your kids, is taking care of your work, is taking care of your house, is taking care of your family, is taking care of your divorce. But if you don't take care of you, what are you standing on?
Yeah, I say all the time, the best investment you will ever make in your children is you.
Mm,
Period.
so true. So true.
Period.
So we just invite you to consider what story you're telling, or what story you feel stuck in, or what role you're playing. Not condemnation, curiosity. Curiosity will really allow you to feel expansive and allow you to just imagine another scenario and another way of being. Like, what if it all works out? What if the ending is wonderful? Why not tell a better story? Yes, right here in divorce. And that's what this beautiful work allows mamas to do every single day. And it's such a slice of grace to witness it. And I think that's probably a wonderful place for us to end here. But I want you to know that that is what divorcing differently looks like. It is healing and becoming, it is revealing, it is allowing, it is writing another story.
We're here for you when you're ready.
We are here. We are here. We are waiting. And just want to make sure that you are on our newsletter list. Please check our workout at intuitivedivorce.com and make sure that you're getting our newsletter with all our great things going on. Hey, Joe, do you want to tell us about this program that you've got going on? It starts next week. So,
Yes, it does. It's a 2-day free masterclass called The Shift, and it's for any woman who's ready to make a shift in their life, to
who's not? Doesn't
understand
matter who's not.
exactly,
Needs a shift.
exactly any kind of shift, whether
Yeah.
that's in your relationship, in your job, or just simply because you know you want more of something. We're going to start by remembering, developing, nurturing this incredible magnetic vision and why that's important, and then understanding the tools of how to get you there so that you don't stay stuck, so
Mhm.
that you do understand how to write a different story. So, 2 days, check it out Tuesday, Wednesday, August 12th and 13th. Would love to see you there.
And just give them your website in case they want to just check it out there.
Perfect. Joe Young, JOYOUNG, coaching.com. All the details are there.
Check it out. You will
Thank
not
you.
regret it. Time to write another story. Time to shift. Let's shift out of that old story.
Time to shift. That's
Yeah,
right.
time to shift. Oh, everybody could use a little bit of that. Anyway, we are sending you a lot of love. You are not alone. There are so many beautiful resources. Remember, you may feel very out of control, but what you do control is your story and where it's going. So we send you a big kiss today.